So just to clarify, tomorrow you want takeout, and then Friday you want to get your treat. And so you're fully prepared to walk Friday. Or just do something active, whatever that looks like. Today's Wednesday. It does feel like a Thursday. You ready? Do you want some pretzels?
Yes.
Someone's watching. Pretzels? Did you say pretzels? Dude, pretzels and nacho cheese, man.
I want nacho cheese now. It's like,
All right, we're gonna start to read. Logan, do you want to join? I don't know if I heard a response, but I'll just start reading. An implausible promise. Are you ready? Bible. All right. Take a breather. And I'm just going to pray just before both sections, okay?
okay.
And then let's collect our minds and think of what's unimportant, okay? Jesus, you're holy and amazing. Thank you that we can take the day, we can seize it, take our desires, and just ring it towards you and the other. May you take our privileges, our possessions, and we use them to love the other, our time. Use us to heal the sick, the broken spirit, as you have. May we partner with what you're doing in the world as the kingdom of heaven is breaking into earth. Wonderful, awesome name. Amen. Okay. Oh, yeah. Remember the pretzel app? For some reason, it got weird and it doesn't. There we go. Now we have music. All right. An implausible promise. Yahweh said to Abram after Lot parted from him, "Now look up and see from the place where you are, north, south, east, and west. Because all the country that you can see, I shall give to you and your offspring permanently. I shall make your offspring like the earth's dust, so that if a person can count the earth's dust, your offspring will also be counted. Up, walk about in the country, through its length and breadth, because I shall give it to you." So Abram moved his tents and came and lived by the oaks of Mamre, which are at Hebron, and there built an altar for Yahweh. I can recall two promises God made to me that seemed unlikely to be fulfilled. Both date from about the time I became principal of a theological college in England, which in U.S. terms is a cross between being a seminary president, provost. I have no idea what that is. A provost is a senior academic administrator. How do you say it?
Provost.
Well, it's provost. Okay. So, seminary president, provost, and dean. We had a Christian leader staying sabbatical who one evening prayed for different members of the faculty and brought them a word from God. His word to me was, "You had a vision for the college and you had begun to think it would never come true, but it will come true." And there were one or two aspects of seminary life where that happened, such as a greater integration of theology, prayer, and life. The second promise was articulated by a former colleague at my installation as principal. "I'll make the north wind your warmth, the snow your purity, the frost your brightness, and the night sky of winter your illumination." I think that refers to the way God will make the hard side to my life, in particular need to live with my wife's increasing disability, a resource rather than mere liability. This promise also came about. Reflecting on these promises in light of God's promise to Abram, I realized they have in common not only that they were pretty implausible, but also that they brought together me as an individual and God's wider purpose. God's promises to Abraham were given not merely for Abraham's sake, but for the sake of Israel and the world. God's promise to me were given not merely for my sake, but for the sake of the seminary and the ministry its students would go out to exercise. Genesis says that Yahweh declares this promise to Abraham. The story has been using that special name for God with some consistency through Genesis 12:13 and will continue to use it. Using this name declares that it is the God whom Israel knows who gets involved with Abraham and makes these promises to him. While thinking of Yahweh addressing Abraham or appearing to Abraham is, strictly speaking, anachronistic. How do you think you say that word? All right, let's listen.
Anachronistic.
Anachronistic. Anachronistic.
Anachronistic.
Anachronistic. While thinking of Yahweh addressing Abraham or appearing to Abraham is, strictly speaking, anachronistic, because before Moses, people would not have thought of God as Yahweh. And when God takes hold of Abraham and makes these promises to him, it is indeed part of a purpose God will continue to pursue until the lives of the Israelites who read this story. Abraham has now several times given up his future, his resources, and his family, or at least indicated he was not too attached to them. He did so when he left Ur and when he left Haran. He has done so again in letting Lot choose the best of the country to settle in. Further, given that Sarah could not have children and his nephew had in effect become part of his family, Lot will be the future of the family and the family business. But to avoid conflict, Abraham has encouraged Lot to go off on his own and has thereby also showed himself not too possessive in relation to his future and even to God's promise about becoming a great nation. Now once more he stands at that high point in the mountain ridge near Bethel, where you can look a huge distance north, south, east, and west, and God invites him to do so. Not in order to choose a particular area to live, but to see himself as heir to the whole country as far as the eye can see. Or rather, God makes this promise in relation to his offspring, which implies that Abraham and Lot's going their separate ways does not mean frustrating the promise God. Or rather, God makes his promise in relation to his offspring, which implies that Abraham and Lot's going their separate ways does not mean frustrating the promise about being a great nation. Somehow Abraham is still to have a family, though now this will come about is not obvious. Abraham is to walk the length and breadth of the country on the basis that it is ultimately all belongs to this family. It will never belong to him personally for a reason we shall come to in Genesis 15. It will not be fair simply to take the country away and give it to Abraham, when its present occupants have done nothing to deserve the loss of the land. That illustrates how there is some tricky interaction between God's desires and plans and the human considerations involved. God does not act like a blunderbuss, deciding what to do and doing it without any consideration for human factors that need to be taken into account. God's purpose is worked out in dialogue with these. Thus, although God talks about giving the country to Abraham, Abraham himself will never possess it. So, in the lands that the Israelites will eventually possess, he's promising Abraham and his descendant those, but Abraham never gets it. Because the time of the original inhabitants has not ended yet. And actually what's crazy is later on in the books of Exodus, it said that the land, the people's defilement has reached the point where they're losing the land. So the people were evil enough, like sacrificing children and things of that effect, whereas like now their time has come to be moved from the land. But then the Israelites will lose the land too because of defiling by their actions, is they also sacrifice children to Molech and don't give love and mercy to the poor and immigrants.
That's not right.
Right, it's a good sign. A good sign of a nation that follows Christ is how you treat your others. Treat the children, treat the refugees. Okay. That illustrates how there's some tricky... Okay. For Abraham, therefore, some poignancy. Is that how you think? How do you think that word is said? Poignancy, poignancy, or poignancy?
Am I right?
Poignancy.
Poignancy.
Yeah.
For Abraham, there's some poignancy. What does poignancy means? We should probably also. I can make a guess, but what do you think poignancy mean? Like kind of like another like attached like importance. Let's see. The quality of causing of having a very sharp feeling of sadness. Oh. Okay, so it means like it's to have a deep emotions. What do you think he's going to have deep emotions about when he's touring the land? Let me give you. So to promise ancestors from your line, so descendants from your line, you got to have kids. And so Yahweh showing that he will own him and his descendants will own this land, but he has no descendants. Isn't that weird? For Abraham, therefore, some poignancy attaches to his tour of the land. He will look around, but will do so as someone who will always be an alien. Possession lies in the future. He thereby illustrates a consistent feature of the life of the people of God. Well, we live in the present and in the future. We live in the past too, recalling what God did and redeeming us, but that is another story. It's possible to live wholly in the present without having expectations for the future. In one sense, Abraham had to do that. He was never more than an alien in the country, but God invites him not to consider himself in isolation from what is going to happen. He's part of a big project God is undertaking. It will not come to fruition in his day, but he's part of it. His tour of the land will remind him of that. Okay. As a stage one of this exploration, he returns away he has been before. His journeys from Bethel through the Negev will have taken him through Hebron and past the oaks of Mamre. Hebron is a city at the center of the southern part of the mountain ridge running north-south through Canaan, a kind of twin to Shechem in the northern part, with Bethel more in the middle. Hebron and Shechem Nablus are still the two cities that dominate the south and north of the Palestinian mountain area, with Ramallah near Bethel in the middle. Retracing the journey he made before might not seem very adventurous, but the key location in Shechem, Bethel, and Hebron means that planting his feet and pitching his tents near these three cities constitutes a symbolic touring of the land, a kind of enacting declaration of faith in God's promise. Abraham began this symbolic action before his ill-fated Egyptian adventure. He completes it afterwards. That misadventure was an interruption, but did not derail God's purpose. Oh yeah. Moses a little bit after this. Moses doesn't show up until the book of Exodus. We're still in Genesis. It is possible to get back on track. The point is underlined by there being no mention of Hebron and Myanmar later, and now by the fact that only at this point does Abraham build an altar at Myanmar to complement the one at Shechem and Bethel. The whole country belongs to Yahweh, and Yahweh can be worshipped all over the country. Genesis chapter 14, 1-13, and a time for war. In the days of Ephraim king of Shinar, Arioch king of Ellasar, Chedorlaomer king of Elam, and Tidal king of nations, they made war with Bera king of Sodom, Bersha king of Gomorrah, Shinab king of Admah, Shemabar king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zor. All these joined together in the Vale of Siddim, that is the Dead Sea. For 12 years they had served Chedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him came and overwhelmed the Rephatites at Ashtaroth Karnaim, the Zuzatites at Ham, the Emites at Sheva Kerethium, and the Horatites in their mountains. Seir as far as El Param, which is near the wilderness. When they returned, they came to En Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and overwhelmed all the territory of the Amalekites and also the Amorites living in Hazon Tamar. So the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zobah, and the king of Bela, that is Zor, went out and engaged them in war in the vale of Siddim. Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of nations, Ephraimel, king of Shinar, and Erech, king of Elasar, 4 kings against the 5. The vale of Sidon, having many Bai-Tumun pits. When the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, they fell in them, while the rest fled in the mountains. They, the 4 kings, took all the property of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their food and went. So they took Lot, the son of Abraham's brother, and his property and went. He was living in Sodom. A survivor came and told Abram the Hebrew. He was dwelling by the oak of Meomer, the Amorites, brother of Eshcol and brother of Aner. These were covenant partners of Abram. On the first Martin Luther King Jr. commemoration, I guess that's said. Commemoration. Commemoration. There we go. That's how you say it. Commemoration. Okay. On the first Martin Luther King Jr. commemoration. Remember who MLK is? Yep. So he's civil rights, right? On the first Martin Luther King Jr. commemoration, after I came to the United States, his daughter Bernice King preached in the seminary chapel. As I walked to chapel that morning, I remember wondering whether she will be the kind of person who focused on a social gospel, on the need to develop a society in which people of all ethnic backgrounds could play a full part, or whether she'd be the kind of person who focused on our personal relationships with God. As I walked back after chapel, I knew I had been put in my place. She had embodied the unity of God's concern for us. God is not just concerned for the social or for the spiritual. The spiritual is social. The social is spiritual. If spirituality does not overflow into social concern, it is not spirituality. And if social concern does not incorporate questions about relationship with God, it is not social concerns. My failure to take for granted that Bernice King would embody the unity of these two concerns showed how these have not been in unity in the traditions from which I come. The African American community has not had the luxury or the misfortune of being able to keep them separate. So, we cling to Jesus. Jesus calls us to love our neighbors. And so we also have to have concern for the social. It's the overflow of our love for God. But also the overflow of love for our neighbor calls us to cling to God because we recognize how incapable we are to answer the human woes. Neither did Abraham. He had left the ancient and impressive city of Ur and the ancient and impressive civilization of Babylonia with his military and political sophistication and became part of a purpose God was working out below the radar. No man in the world of power or politics knew about Abraham and how significant he was. Yet this did not mean that he had contracted out of the world. When the world crisis came to impinge on Lot, Abraham the Hebrew could not say it was not his business. How he came to be involved in this crisis is an extraordinary story. I imagine the Israelites listening to it were bemused. It begins with the 4 big guys, and among these, the Israelites might recognize the name of Shinar and Elam. If they were listening to a Genesis story, sequentially, they're listening to the Genesis story sequentially. I think I'm saying that right. Sequentially. I was saying it right. Sequentially. So, if they're listening to a Genesis story sequentially, you know what sequentially means? It means before. They heard of Shinar in connection with Nimrod and with the Babylonian tower, and of Elam as one of Shem's descendants. But we don't know who their 4 kings were or where Elasar was, and King of Nations is an odd title. All they will likely be as puzzling to Israelites as to us. They would just suggest exotic Middle Eastern kings and nations. What is clear is that an alliance of kings from rather far away has imposed its authority where Lot lives, because the little guys in the story are the kings of 5 cities down in the Jordan Valley. These 5 cities feature elsewhere in the Old Testament and look as if they are places that people will know about. They would at least recognize their names, even if they will not know the names of their kings. We too know nothing else about them. They might also know that here kings means something rather different from what it means in connection with the 4 big guys. The 4 are serious, big power players. The 5 are just the rulers of obscure little towns. The Gang of 4 maintained their authority for a dozen years, after which the 5 Jordan Valley cities issued a declaration of independence. They will no longer accept the authority of this far-off imperial type alliance, and they evidently think they can take this action and get away with it. Perhaps they are not the only cities that were doing so, but the Gang of 4 overwhelmed a list of other peoples in the general area. Insofar as we can locate these peoples, they lived east and south of the Dead Sea. Maybe the Gang of 4 were extending their empire, or maybe they were putting other rebellious people in their place. It was a kind of political and military scenario Israelites were used to. The control of a foreign empire from the east, rebellious punitive expeditions. Israel itself lived for some time under the authority of the successors of these 4 kings, Assyrian kings and Babylonian kings, and they were themselves inclined to rebel from time to time and usually then got put in their place. Whether putting down these other peoples was a first conquest or a re-subjugation, the 5 cities came next. They did not wait to be attacked. They took the initiative, but it was no contest. The 5 kings were soon on the run. 3 run for the hills, and 2 fall into bitumen pits. Did they jump? Was this their refuge? Or did they just fall? Either way, it was somewhat humiliating. I imagine the story's listeners teetering. So much for the pretensions of the kings of the Jordan Valley, who seemed impressive when Lot looked down there, but who now look rather less so. In the absence of the kings and their armies, that is, the menfolk, the Gang of 4 are free to do the usual thing and plunder the 5 cities. And they're sitting outside his tent not far from Sodom's main gate is the hapless Lot. A chapter ago, he seemed to have made rather a clever choice of a place to live. Now his decision looks less... No.
Prescient.
Prescient.
No.
Yeah, prescient.
Prescient.
They're not in our normal vocabulary. And so for us, yeah, we're
But I wonder.
prescient.
I wonder how that word is in Spanish.
A chapter ago, he seemed to have made rather a clever choice of a place to live. Now his decision looks less prescient. So that means like important, like good. You thought he made a good call, but now egg on his face. Abraham might have thought that giving Lot the freedom to make it on his own would make his life simpler, but it turns out to make it more complicated, nor is this the last time it does that. Lot is Abraham's brother, a member of his extended family. That imposes obligations, but Abraham is also fortunate to have some covenant partners, that is, allies. Within the family, you do not have a covenant. Being in the same family implies a mutual commitment. There is such a family commitment between Abraham and Lot, and another one between Myanmar, Eshcol, and Aner as brothers. Perhaps in that broader sense of members of the same extended family, Myanmar and Eshcol are here the names of people, not places, as they are elsewhere. But in addition, Abraham on one side and these 3 brothers on the other have entered into a committed covenant relationship with one another. They will not take advantage of one another, and they will defend and support one another in practical ways. All right, friend, we can start.
And I'm not asking it to. How do I get rid of this story?
Just hit the 3 dots on the right and hit close search bar. Welcome. We're right back. GPO's got your hand again. Huh.
But there's a fish where it has like no eyes and just a mouth. Okay, I get it, gang.
Yes, friend?
Don't get up. It was your mistake in coming here.
This shall be of great help.
Hmm.
I don't know how to get down. I have an idea. I know it's not.
Huh.
Go, Piggy. Love it.
Maybe now you will find peace.
A street command.
Don't slow me down.
Now, I got power stop on you.
Is that everyone?
Okay. You're gonna give me now. I think you look like you gotta go pee. Hey, buddy! Okay. Ready?
Hope you're ready.
I had heard of your talents. Now I see for myself.
What? What?
You were too weak for this fight.
Wait,
what you came for. You will not be discouraged.
They cannot possibly match your strength. I saw a move like that once, centuries ago.
They are free. Now, where is Sin?
Where is Sin?
Well, your parents laugh on you. I gotta go off literally to the moon.
Of course.
Dahlia!
What the hell have you done, Vamp? What have I done? A work of true genius. Personal alchemies, artifacts, acquired over centuries.
And blood siphoned from
Do you just
dozens
like
of
using a
innocents.
hover with Kilo?
Mutant, human, a combined blood.
AoE!
All to fulfill my one purpose. The creation of a vast immortal army that can cross sacred ground, that requires no invitation.
No flaw, no failure,
You want?
no death, just perfection.
No stakes.
I
No
think I
silver.
can't work
No weakness whatsoever.
Except for me. Enough bravado. My plan was flawless. All I needed was the right filter.
Huh?
We're gonna break the game.
Mm.
Alright?
There will be no more running. You
Okay.
will answer for what
Alright,
you've
watch
done
this.
here and now.
I gotta break the
Yeah,
whole
you
way.
already showed me. I don't need to see it
we ever
again.
run from you? We stand proud.
She's right, of course. There will be no more running for our kind.
That AoE.
Then this will end here.
I see what this is happening. I know. Don't tell her about the AoE so I can be actually a piece. This is a quick stack again today. I just want to see the AoE I can see. And just say yes and go forward.
Mm.
I want to throw it so bad.
This shall be of great help.
Alright. How about
Okay.
I guess why on the feet? I can't even hold them up.
I have your back.
I feel better already. I am impressed.
Here it is. Actually, let's restart encounter.
You want me to show you it? Sure. I need to show you one thing first. Oh dear. I need to know it.
What's up?
This AoE. I'm not-
center of attention.
Logan, I think it's ready. It's ready, Logan. What is AOE? What?
Huh? No. This is just GPO.
Welcome assistance.
Foolish.
No, there's one more thing.
A miscalculation at best.
The forces of nature conspire. Let me light your way.
Big AoE, you're right about that.
Danke.
Huh? Because I need to take out the mooks.
Hey, buddy! What?
You asked for it. Playtime's over. It's weirdos like these that give people like us a bad reputation.
World has a new apex.
You won't leave here alive.
What? You have resistant? Yeah, you resistant?
I always knew you were a parasite. But picking on kids, you're garbage. You always have such a way with words, Blade. And you're so angry. That almost sounded like garbage trying to talk.
Enough of your disrespect!
On him!
Now who's angry?
What is this?
It's something that-
It's whispering. Get it?
Perfect. Here's to you.
A dangerous.
It's very fun. Six kilos, half kilos.
There is no
Starting to see why they call you the hunter.
They're still set on me. You were too weak for this fight. The advantage is mine. Your mother abandoned me.
About time.
Is that really the best you can do?
It sounds to me like they just missed their mama.
When this is over, your blood will serve as the first of many exquisite meals to come. A banquet of the Daywalker.
Nah, only with the
a mute
overload ability.
Adonis, and what are you exactly?
Unpalatable.
I very much doubt that. I thought you were supposed to be.
Accept your defeat. Return to the darkness. They
Alright.
brought this upon themselves.
No!
Toxic goop.
Master!
In the end, you are all alone.
Then so shall it be with you!
It seems vampires are vulnerable to lightning.
That was half my power.
came back for me.
Of course we
It's
did.
gotta be behind you.
No, there's no more jumps. We beat this side mission.
What now?
We'll take you home. Wherever you want that to be.
Oh, all right. Here comes the drop frames. Stuff like this is why I'm done wasting time. Did it crash? Nope, just being very slow. Just have to wait.
You can sleep in my room tonight, Dahlia.
What? No, I don't want to kick you out of your own space.
Don't worry about it. I can sleep in limbo.
I'm guessing there's no point in arguing with you.
You're smart. Try to get some rest. You need it.
In a bit. There's something I need to do first.
All I can do is just wait for the game to calm down. I feel like I just play this game in window mode and then just like get distracted by something else while waiting.
Try me. Oh, showed it.
Oh. There we go.
Could you stop by later, Hunter? We should talk.
How do you feel?
Aside from the obvious, I'm alright. Although I've noticed my abilities don't feel the same. I don't know how to describe it, but it's,
Is she in the
Darker?
group now?
yeah. How did you...
I have darkness within me, too. I understand what it is like.
I don't want it to linger, to control me. How do you deal with it?
Do not be scared of the darkness. It is not evil. It serves to balance out the light in you.
It's kind of hard not to think of darkness as big and scary and bad.
Because that is what we are taught. You will learn to harness and control the darkness, just as you do the light.
Okay. Well, when you put it that way, it sounds less intimidating.
You are not corrupt, and this new feeling will serve to guide you.
Thanks. That makes me feel better. You know, I'm actually surprised that you all came to rescue me. Don't get me wrong, I'm totally glad that you did. It was just unexpected.
What is next for you, Dahlia?
Honestly, I don't know. But for the first time in my life, I get to choose. Everything is up in the air, but, you know, I'm taking it day by day.
Is she a fighter? Oh, she's here.
I'm still cool to talk if you have more questions.
What's this? Called move? Do you like? Is it weird?
I tried it in Thailand and I liked it, but here I don't know what. It's interesting, huh?
It tastes like cotton candy light. It tastes more like sweetened air. Ugh. I put them on the coffee table. Love you. How was your day?
Has your opinion of Storm changed?
I was really unkind to her in the sewer. I spoke out of anger, and I regret it.
The words you spoke held no truth?
Yes. And no. It's complicated. But Storm showed up when it mattered. She cares about me and the Morlocks, and she showed it.
You should tell her this.
I plan on it.
How do you feel about leaving the orphanage?
Conflicted.
Sorry.
On one hand, I hated it. Every day was a reminder that I didn't belong. But I was surrounded by kids who felt the same way, and we became a family.
You miss your friends.
I do. Leaving them behind sucked. But once I learned about the Morlocks, I knew I needed to help.
Then you found another new family.
I'm forever grateful they took me in.
What are your thoughts on the Morlocks?
They're my family. They took me in, and we cared for each other. We're all mutants just trying to get by.
They are not wary of you?
They were at first. They thought I was one of the X-Men. But once they saw I wanted to help, we built up trust.
Is being an X-Men bad?
Morlocks are used to being outcasts because of the way they look. There's a misunderstanding between the two groups, you know.
Have you reconsidered Storm's offer?
I was worried about this question. I have no idea.
That is okay. You do not need to know right now.
There's still so much about the X-Men I don't know about, and I can't just leave the Morlocks behind.
I am sure you will figure something out.
Me too.
See you later, Dahlia.
I hope so.
I hope she fights. Very interesting companion.
The AoE is so big that I can't hit the enemies.
No, actually, I didn't. I seriously didn't. If I did, I'll take that with a loud trumpet. Okay.
Yes?
See you later.
Right. It's like storm. Here.
It's been so long.
It has been a while since I have seen you here, Sarah.
I guess when you live forever, places of worship take on a different significance. It doesn't seem so important to turn to a high power when you're not faced with the inevitability of death. But now, death, to even us immortals, is becoming an inescapable inevitability. So here I am, asking for guidance. But the Elder Gods are long gone. Only whispers of their power remain. So I've been sitting here quietly, trying to listen to whatever advice they have to offer, if any.
Well, I do not think they would advise you to sit here and wonder about what they would or would not say. They would want you to act.
Yes, but act how? Perhaps I should be asking Agatha. She would know better than I on what to do. Her spirit has only made herself known for one night, and she's already done more to heal the wounds of this team than I have in 6 months.
Agatha has been here in spirit longer than that.
She has? Hunter, how long has she been here?
Since the night I was resurrected.
And you didn't tell me. Why?
Agatha was not ready to make herself known to you.
Ah, so you were keeping her confidence?
I was. I know she wanted to reach out to you, and I am glad she finally found a way.
Well, I'm glad she did. She has been missed. Missed beyond measure. If we survive, I hope to learn more soft skills from her. She was always the more maternal one out of the two of us.
I will not argue with you there. Well, I should leave you to your prayers.
Let's hope someone answers them. Thank you, Hunter, but I'd like to be left alone to my thoughts now.
What's going on here?
Storm sure knows how to make the rest of us look bad, huh? Glad she's in it for the long haul.
Hey, Curry.
One less group for the vampires.
So,
Dracula's days are numbered.
Hey, if anybody's gonna understand looking funny, it's me.
Nice.
Tip number 1, develop a sick sense of humor.
well, that accomplishment big. Never actually tried. Oh, it's always,
You have called yourself a leader many times.
I've been in the position where I needed to make decisions for a team.
I am sure you have made many tough calls.
I do what I can with the information I have. The same could be said of you.
If I was put in the position to lead, I would.
Isn't that how it goes? No one asks for this responsibility, but we do it.
If that is the case, we should have matching jackets.
I'll get right on that.
Have you ever made a mistake?
Who hasn't? Nobody is perfect. I've made my fair share of mistakes, and have done my best to learn from them. Does it always work? No. I am curious to hear how you handle failure.
I never fail twice.
Never say never, Hunter. That kind of mentality can backfire on you.
Confidence is not a bad thing.
Never said it was. Just don't confuse it with cockiness. Give yourself some credit, Hunter. You're doing just fine.
What do you like? Huh?
Are you sure? Thank you, Hunter. Truly. There is truly nothing better than a cold drink with good company.
New breed vampire activity is down worldwide. Not to jinx it, but I think we're winning.
Any sign of Dracula or Sin?
None. They're off the board. I think we hit him where it hurts. Without them, the few remaining pockets of vampire activity will die out faster than Chewie devours, well, anything. Anything else on your mind?
Thanks.
I hate this.
Bet New York was nothing like you remembered.
How did it feel when you fought Dracula?
How do you think? He's still alive.
You were not even the tiniest bit satisfied?
All right, it was a little satisfying. But ask me again when I kill the guy.
Belly flop on you.
See.
Prepare to be belly flop.
You spoke with Dahlia.
Yes, I wanted to check in on her.
I appreciate you doing that. I spoke with her as well.
Oh? About what?
I offered Dahlia another opportunity to join Xavier's school.
You asked again?
Third time's the charm. She said she'd sleep on her decision, so now we wait.
Okay, bro. This game's really annoying.
And now my character sleeps.
Prepare to be belly flopped on. I'll belly flop on you. What?
Hunter, a word?
I'm listening.
I wanted to apologize. I'm afraid I came off a bit cold when we last spoke.
No, I will help you.
I thought giving a cold shoulder was part of your plan.
If I wanted to turn you into a popsicle, I could. But that is not my intention.
So you are speaking literally.
That's a conversation that will have to wait.
I see you are still hesitant in sharing parts of yourself.
I'm not trying to keep secrets, but I don't want to alarm anyone.
Why would it be alarming?
Hypothetically speaking, how would you feel if others learned that you could cause a hurricane if you became too upset?
I would almost feel unstoppable.
But you have to remember that power comes with a cost. As a leader, the last thing I want is for my team to think I am unable to keep myself under control.
Are you not tired of suppressing yourself?
No. Having control keeps everyone safe. Let's leave it at that. I go into detail, but...
You do not trust me yet.
Keep doing what you're doing, and I'm sure we'll get there.
Hunter, a word.
Now, clear your mind.
Dahlia left this morning for Xavier's school.
Aww.
You do not sound surprised.
She's got the safety of her Morlocks to consider. With so many X-Men out for the Shi'ar Brood War, there's space.
The Morlocks were invited as well?
Yes. Magic ferried everyone to the school. They'll be secure until the vampire threat is eradicated.
I'm sure Dahlia is happy they were able to join her.
It was her idea. She proposed the X-Men and the Morlocks share space at Xavier's school to better understand one another.
What a great idea.
She wants to end the confusion and stigma each group has toward the other. It is a noble pursuit, and I am so proud of her.
Her elbows
So,
are.
What are your
weird.
plans, now that she is safe?
You went out of your way to help me. It is only right that I return the favor. I will remain at the Abbey until your fight with Lilith is over.
Warm up
Dope.
time, everybody. 200 jumping jacks, 30 burpees, and a murder.
Need a pick-me-up? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. In my case, literally, I can't stand apples.
What if we give someone 0 critical chance? Who has the lowest? Some of these, so yeah, so we'll give someone.
The science is a bit hard to follow. Best if I don't explain it.
Wait. Okay, we'll do 2 people. As the lowest. So it'll be like, alright.
We could all be taking better care of ourselves.
Huh.
That's exactly what I was thinking. This is better than a workout.
That's fine. Oh, wait.
Oh, you are gonna love this. Hunter.
Let me do my...
Sometimes, I even impress myself.
Back on blade.
Later.
Hunter, consider yourself the only invitee to my favorite meat time spot.
The only one? How did I win that honor?
I'll spare you the sappy stuff, but you've climbed to the top of my friendship ladder. Almost at the top.
I am actually very interested in this sappy stuff. Please, do tell.
No.
Why not celebrate our friendship with an honest emotional dialogue?
That's definitely not happening.
I will start. Nico, ever since our first conversation, I have known that you are an
I'm leaving.
Okay. I'm surprised your favorite spot is the chapel.
Believe it or not, my family used to go to church religiously when I was a kid, so pretentious old buildings give me this comforting vibe. It wasn't always like this.
What changed?
Do I look like a psych major? But if I had to guess, I would say I needed to peel the rotten layers my dear mom left behind to get to my healthier innards. You know, onion style. And I took your advice. I accepted what happened with my parents.
I'm impressed. Acceptance takes strength and courage.
Well, you know, I'm a badass, but I even surprised myself here. Now, there is no holding me back, and like you've been there for me, I'll be there for you. When we face your mom one final time, I want you to know, I got your back. Whatever you need, I'm your witch.
Challenge mission card unlocked. Nice. Let's do this. All right. I'll go use the restroom, I guess. Well, it takes a million years to load. crack this guard. Crack the sky. You only need one. Infinite card plays. Start encounter, confirm. Oh.
Okay, we get it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Okay! I think I get it. Okay! Just do. Yeah, okay. Just do it. Relief, you know.
Oh, perfect. There we go. This one has 32. All right, HR. When Jason gets here, then we'll do our 2 portions of reading, okay? Ooh, a full cutscene. That is cool.
You can win. Oh, you are so dead. You are so dead. You think you can just steal the test on me like that?
Oh, yep. Here goes the pain lag.
coming! Okay! Fine.
So this, no. No, I just wait. Ah. There we go. It finally fixed itself. So maybe just saying escape and then waiting, then we'll have to do it. Heroes. Someone has a new skin. Actually, I like Relentless, but make him bleed. Daywalker's nice. Savage, whatever. All right. Think we should open the garage door?
Don't tell me. Red Skull's plans for Wundagore monorail.
Close. Red Skull dug them back in World War II, but where they go, well, we're not sure. Yet.
There are some hints in Crossbone's data that a few of the tunnels might even be older.
How much do we trust Crossbone's data?
I trust it enough to investigate and launch reconnaissance. Up for a little smash and grab, Logan?
Ah, I see where this is going. It's a cannonball special. Except that you're throwing me at a whole mountain.
We know you're strong enough to take it.
Want in on the action, Steve?
Negative. I need to poke around Crossbones' hard drive. There's still encryption I can't crack.
Maybe it's spicy love letters from Crossbones to Sin? She's Red Skull's daughter or granddaughter or something. Anyone sharing a family tree with Red Skull is bad news. Dating Crossbones is proof of that pudding.
That's right. I wonder what kind of murder sonnets those two deranged lovebirds wrote to each other. But while it would make some titillating nightmare fuel, we have bigger fish to fry.
And it's a big old doozy of a fish. Something called Project Gottmorder.
Based on my limited German, that sounds promising.
Agreed. Only it could be nothing. Red Skull doled out fancy names left and right. I think the answer's here, in Crossbones' data.
What we do know is that these tunnels go somewhere. And Hydra's hiding something. Something potentially big.
Well, that's more context than I normally get for potential suicide missions. Into the Hydra nest we go.
Oh!
Hope you're not afraid to get dirty, Hunter.
Money. It's like I gotta.
I'm gonna make that bean.
Okay, where is she? Where's Storm?
Oh! Jag försökte på det här som jag försökte!
Even a sorcerer suit.
Yeah.
Time to take it to the next level. We need any advantage we can get. Caretaker said I need to be a team player. Do your thing.
Eh.
All right then.
She's not coming in.
Don't ask me how.
You are an incredible teacher, Storm.
You flatter me, Hunter.
Get that friendship up.
If we're really going into those tunnels underneath Mount Wundagore, get ready for some good old-fashioned grime and slime.
Oh.
Are you
What's
saying
up?
the Red Skull
Jason?
did not value comfort?
The guy was a Nazi whose head was the color of an inflamed
Alright, my
big
friend.
toe. I doubt he was trucking in lacy throw pillows down there.
I will adjust my expectations.
Alright, sure, my
Map
friend.
we
Time
have
to
is
read.
pretty loose, but luckily, you're gonna have me leading the way. So don't worry about getting stuck or lost.
He's been a bite.
Alright. Yep, you're reading. Something to do after. That works. All right. Geez, you're only amazing. Thank you that we can take this moment after mid part of the day. We can thank you for that you have never given up on humanity. Even though we give up on you. We disregard you, disregard our maker in our life. May that not be. May we look for your wisdom. May we cling to you. Please do not communicate with us. Please communicate with us. Please speak to us. Please, Holy Spirit, as we draw closer to you and the writings of the ancients, your holy scripture. And thank you, Jesus, for your death and resurrection. And may we always keep in mind of the cross, the good news of your ascension and your rule here on earth. That all evils are on their final countdown. That you rule all. In our Father's name, amen. Getting a snack? You ready? Genesis 14:14 through 18. What do you need to know? You coming up? Come on, boy. When Abram heard that his brother had been taken captive, he mustered his trained men, people born in his household, 318 of them, and went in pursuit as far as Dan. He and his servants split up against them by night, overwhelmed them, and then pursued them as far as Hobah, which is north of Damascus. He brought back all the property and brought back his brother Lot and his possessions, and also the woman and the people. The king of Sodom came out to meet him after he returned from overwhelming Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, in the vale of Shavah, that is the king's valley. And Melchizedek, the king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High. Oh, I thought you were saying my name. Okay. If you are Abraham, what do you assume about the religious insight of a person like Melchizedek, who is priest of God Most High, but doesn't know what you know about God? I have friends who have moved to Turkey and to Central Asia and to a particular area within the Philippines, and to a particular area within India, and to another Asian country that they don't even name because the position of Christians there is so delicate. In each case, these people want to make it possible for people to know Christ, though they don't put missionary on their visa application because it would be unlikely to facilitate its acceptance. They need another reason to be where they are, so they might focus directly on ministering to the existent Christian community, if there is one, or on reaching people with social or development needs. As in the past, the missionary movement made medicine or education its point of entry to a country. We could talk about the ethics of this economy with the truth, but we will do that another day, probably in Exodus for everyone, when we look at the midwives lying to Pharaoh in connection with the story about Melchizedek. The more immediate question is, what do you assume about the existent religious insight of the adherents of another faith? In our world, the question might arise in connection with people such as Muslims. Do you assume they are totally benign? Abraham does not seem to assume this with Melchizedek, though he does imply there is something extra Melchizedek needs to know. The question arises as a result of a surprising and decisive rescue mission Abraham undertakes. The question arises as a result of a surprising and decisive rescue mission Abraham undertakes. When he hears what has happened down in the Jordan Valley, he knows he cannot just shrug his shoulders. Lot is his brother, in that broad sense, part of his extended family. Family ties bind you. Further, Abraham knows there is a time for peace and a time for conflict. When you can maintain peace by sacrificing your own welfare, maintaining peace is the right thing to do, but maintaining peace at the cost of someone else's welfare is a different matter. In effect, the Gang of Four have belittled people in Abraham's family. This is the possibility God spoke of in the original promise to Abraham. God then promised not to stand by when that happens. Abraham assumes his job is not simply to sit back and trust God to rescue Lot, but to take action himself. As we have seen in connection with the stay in Egypt, and we'll see again, Abraham is capable of coming across as a wimp, but there is nothing wimp-like about his reaction to Lot's capture. As well as showing us another side of Abraham's character, the story shows us another side to his entourage. We often work with a romantic picture encapsulated in 19th century watercolors and Sunday school lesson books of the ancient and serene Abraham and Sarah sitting peacefully in front of their tent and their flowing robes surrounded by a few sleepy sheep. It turns out they have a household staff of 318, and that is just the home-born men trained to fight. Abraham's family business is quite an entourage. The dramatic rescue mission Abraham initiates takes him first to the far north of Canaan. At Hebron, he is close to the southernmost city in the land, Beersheba. Dan is the northernmost city, still making the border of the modern state of Israel. It will take several days to get there. The story slows down for a moment at this point and implies that Abraham slowed down. His posse is about to leave their land and cross the border into Syria. This is a significant move, but they carry on, win a decisive victory and recapture everything the Gang of Four had taken. It is an astounding achievement. The Four Kings are the leaders of a powerful coalition with an impressive list of victories under their belts. We have heard nothing of Abraham's fighting anyone. There is indeed evidently another side to him. On his arrival back home, out comes the Chastain king of Sodom, still sneezing bitumen. What the heck is bitumen? Probably I'm saying it wrong, so let's look it up. It's a versatile resource. Bitumen is a thick, sticky substance derived from crude oil that has many uses in construction, roofing, and paving.
Yeah, but no one needs them.
Of course.
I think it's
Bitumen. 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 It's an asphalt of Asia Minor used in ancient times as a cement and mortar. Any of various mixtures of hydrocarbons, such as tar, often together with their non-metallic derivatives that occur naturally or are obtained as residues after heat refining natural substance, such as petroleum. Huh. Bitumen. 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 You don't have a fruit? Have you eaten all your food? Everything in your lunchbox? Alright. Well, in my place, I'm going to request that you eat everything before you eat something off the snack table. I mean, that thing can keep things cool. Your lunchbox. It's fine. It's just a meat stick. It's preserved meat. That stuff can last, my friend. It's preserved meat. It has a bunch of salts. It's a meat stick, right? The stuff from Costco? Yeah, that stuff can last. Yeah, the stuff that your mom got from Costco. I tried it Monday. Tuesday, I mean. Can I see? Can I see? On his arrival back home, out comes the chastising king of Sodom, still sneezing bitumen. There are two ways to travel north to Dan or Damascus, or to come back south. You either go along the mountain ridge as Abraham did at the beginning, passing through Bethel and Shechem, or you go along the Jordan Valley, passing by Jericho. The latter would be the natural route from Sodom, but the former would be the natural route from Abraham's encampment at Hebron. There was a king's valley near Jerusalem, so it looks as if this meeting takes place up on the mountain ridge as Abraham makes his way back down the ridge towards Hebron. The name Salem is virtually the name as the second half of the name of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem looks like a compound name, like Beersheba or Manapolis. And the only other Old Testament mention of Salem seems to refer to Jerusalem, while the only other mention of Melchizedek seems to see him as in some sense David's predecessor. So, the author and the readers of the story will be thinking in terms of Abraham's arriving back near home and of the king of Jerusalem, which is again just by the mountain ridge that Abraham would travel down, coming out to congratulate him on his victory. Remarkably, from an Israelite angle, Melchizedek was both priest and king. Abraham's clan had neither kings nor priests. For practical purposes, Abraham was the clan's king and priest. He made the decisions and he led the worship in the sense that he took the lead in offering the sacrifices. Later, things were very different in Israel. While Israel did not believe in separating church and state, it did separate leadership in worship and leadership in politics. It believed in separation of power so that too much power would not be in the hands of one person. Admittedly, there were occasions when the king exercised leadership in worship. Psalms 110 notes that the Jerusalem king, in effect, succeeded Melchizedek and that he was also a priest in the city. And it implies that this succession gave the Davidic leadership in Jerusalem a basis for reckoning it was okay to exercise both roles. Greeting Abraham, Melchizedek brought out bread and wine, used to Holy Communion. A Christian's ears prick up. There is indeed an indirect connection here. I have been in a slight trouble with my physician for telling him with some satisfaction that I drink coffee in the morning, tea in the afternoon, and wine in the evening, and then clean my teeth with water. He had discovered I was a bit dehydrated, overreacting to the way Californians walk around carrying water everywhere. I was neglecting its importance. Water is everyday refreshment. Wine is celebratory refreshment. A glass of wine is a festive drink for the end of the day, while more than a glass is a way of marking special occasions. Wine, therefore, has a very prominent place in Passover and thus in Holy Communion. Melchizedek offers Abraham not just refreshment, though that would be welcome, but celebration. Perhaps he does that with the food too, because the word for bread often means food more generally. Melchizedek comes out to celebrate with Abraham and bless him because Melchizedek is priest of God Most High, which raises the question of what else he needs to know about God. God Most High is the person Psalm 57 cries out to. Daniel can agree with his Babylonian bosses that God Most High is the one they both recognize. Muslims refer to God as Allah, which is simply the Arabic word for God, related to the Hebrew word Elohim. It'll be misleading to suggest that Muslims worship and think of God in a way totally different from the way Christians or Jews worship and think of God. Christian witness builds on what people know rather than requiring them to start again from scratch. At least this is implied by Abraham's interaction with Melchizedek. Blessing and tithing. And he, Melchizedek, blessed him, saying, Blessed be Abraham by God Most High, Lord of heaven and earth. And blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your foes into your hand. And he gave him a tenth of everything. The king of Sodom said to Abraham, Give me the people, but take the property for yourself. But Abraham said to the king of Sodom, With raised hand I say to Yahweh, God Most High, Lord of heaven and earth, from a thread to a sandal strap, if I take anything that is yours, you shall not say, I am the one who made Abraham rich. Not me, only what the young men have eaten, and the share of the men who went with me. Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, they must have their share. In the non-denominational church where my parents sent my sister and me to Sunday school, tithing was an important part of Christian commitment. But as a teenager, I also became involved with my Church of England parish church. In those days, in the Church of England, no one had heard of tithing, or rather, it was something that strange free church people did. The Church of England had assets from the past that paid pastors' salaries and other church expenses. So church members had no need to tithe. Other churches did not have such assets. But over the years, inflation meant those assets were worth much less. And people in the Church of England started hearing the word tithe. It was good for us. We learned to give like other Christians. The story of Abraham and Melchizedek suggests that tithing, like sacrifice, was a well-known practice before God said anything about it. It was a natural instinct. Abraham knew it, and Melchizedek knew it. He wasn't surprised when Abraham tithed what he had gained and gave it to Melchizedek. It was apparently Abraham's response to Melchizedek being a priest, which was itself evident by his blessing Abraham. Admittedly, in the context, the idea of someone blessing Abraham is surprising. Arguably, it was before he set out with his posse that Abraham needs someone's prayer and blessing. Maybe there was no time for that. Abraham went off without consulting anyone or asking anyone's prayer. There are times you have seen to take action without delay. I have been watching a comedy medical series on TV. From time to time, a patient's heart stops. When that happens, in comedy or drama or real life, the doctor does not have time to consult colleagues or ask someone to pray for him. He has to take action and do CPR. After I had been writing the chapter on the archaeological site at Shechem in connection to Genesis 12, I dreamed that I was touring a rather neglected archaeological site with the best-known Shechem archaeologist, G. Ernest Wright. He will now be 99, so it is not so surprising that he fell face down into a muddy puddle and did not look likely to get up. I thought, do I have to give him mouth to mouth? With all that mud in his mouth, would it work? But he's going to asphyx? How do you think that word is said? That's a good question.
Asphyxiate.
Asphyxiate. To cause asphyxiate in, to kill, suspend animation in, or to make unconscious through want of adequate oxygen, presence of noxious agents, or other obstructions to normal breathing. So
asphyxiate.
Asphyxiate is when there's something like stopping you from taking in oxygen. Asphyxiate. With all that mud in his mouth, would it work? But he is going to asphyxiate. So I reached into his mouth to scoop the mud out, and he started breathing again. It was as well I needed only a split second to think all that through and then took action. Then I woke up. When Abraham takes action and comes back and Melchizedek recognizes the significance of what he has done, blessing Abraham might simply mean congratulating him, praising him, or greeting him. But what Paul suggests there is more to it than that. More likely, Melchizedek is declaring God's blessing for the brave action Abraham has undertaken. God had commissioned him to leave his people and go to Canaan and promised that blessing would follow. Now, Abraham has also taken that decisive and brave action on behalf of another family member, and Melchizedek confirms that God's blessings will follow. In Abraham's day and subsequently, people such as the head of a family or the king had the authority to bless people. But by virtue of his ordination, a priest in particular had authority to declare God's blessing. And it is in this capacity that Melchizedek does so. He speaks in the name of God Most High, whom he then further describes as Lord of heaven and earth. His description of God as Lord directly refers to God's owning the heavens and the earth. It is this fact that gives God power to bless Abraham. God can bring the resources of the heavens and the earth to work in his favor. So Melchizedek has a blessing for Abraham, and he has a blessing for God too. He thus makes for a contrast with Noah, who has a blessing for God but a curse for Canaan, among whose people Melchizedek might be counted. As blessing was an odd thing to do to the seventh day, it is an odd thing to do to God, and in this connection the word again likely means something more like praise, although the story made no mention of Abraham seeking God's blessing on his actions, spoke only of Abraham's initiative. Melchizedek knows that Abraham could not have won such an astonishing victory without God being involved. He knows God also deserves blessing in the sense of praise. It is Melchizedek's words of blessing and praise that provoke Abraham into giving his tithe. This act expresses a recognition that God made the victory possible, even though it was Abraham who took the initiative. Perhaps these words of blessing and praise also prompt the king of Sodom's words to Abraham, though it's not clear whether he is being generous or tight-fisted. As the person who won the victory, is Abraham entitled to add the plunder to his wealth and the people to his entourage? Or is he morally obliged to return the plunder and the people to the cities from whom they were taken? Either way, the king of Sodom proposes a compromise that Abraham refuses, not because he wants everything, but because he wants nothing. His stance recalls his earlier generosity towards Lot. Abraham had not gone off on his expedition because he wanted to make something out of it, but because he wanted to fulfill his family obligations. He doesn't want to turn this not-for-profit venture into a profit-making one. Accepting the king's offer would imply getting into a relationship with the king of Sodom that he might regret. It'll put him under reciprocal obligation. You know that? Reciprocal? So, let's say, like, I give you a $5,000 gaming computer. So next time it's like my birthday, you'll feel obligated to give me a very generous gift, since I've given you a very generous gift. So it'll put Abraham under a reciprocal obligation. So you feel like you'll have to give, like in relation, you'll feel like you'll have to give something of value. He promises God he will not make a profit out of it. He just wants his expenses and the expenses of the three covenant partners who because of their commitment to him join his posse. It is in connection with declining the king's offer that Abraham implies the point about what Melchizedek and the king of Sodom need to know about God, and maybe that also relates to his desire not to get too involved with the king. Melchizedek spoke in the name of God Most High, Lord of heaven and earth. Abraham speaks of Yahweh, God Most High, Lord of heaven and earth. The addition makes all the difference. Yahweh is that name God revealed to Israel, used here even though people did not use it in the time to which Genesis refers. When this name is revealed to Moses in connection with the Exodus, it will stand for the new thing God is then doing with Israel, for God's promise to be with Israel in a distinctive way. The purpose of that is ultimately to fulfill God's intention to bless the whole world, but God will fulfill this purpose through Israel. As Jesus will put it in John 4, salvation is from the Jews. The name Yahweh stands for the way God intends to fulfill that purpose. God is the God of grace and truth in relation to the whole world, but the supreme expression of this truth is the way God was involved in Israel in the story that leads up to Jesus. Although in a literal sense, Abraham will not have used the name Yahweh. The story makes explicit that while Melchizedek has some real knowledge of God, as is expressed in his knowing God Most High as Lord of heaven and earth, even Melchizedek needs to know the truth about God's involvement with Israel, symbolized by the name Yahweh. So the name Yahweh was how God revealed his name to the Israelites with Moses. So by saying that, it means this special thing God is doing to bless the world. There's a special thing God is doing with the Israelites to bless the world. And that story is shown as we continue reading the Old Testament. It shows, and then it leads to Jesus. And that's why Jesus says salvation comes from the Jews. It's through that special story that Jesus, being a Jew, he is that salvation that has come out from the Jews. All right, friends, we can start.
Hello.
Hey, Houston.
How's
Hey,
your
friend.
day coming?
It's going
along?
good. I mean, I'm just dealing with the crazy lag every time in this game whenever, like, I am done with a battle. And so it just reaffirms that I'm just going to keep this game in normal difficulty and just blast through it.
Oh, is it having technical issues?
Yeah. It's like I have done everything I know to, like, prevent the lag. The moment, like, it transitions to a new scene, like, bad lag happens. Like I turn off ray tracing, I went to DX11. I've done so much, and so now I'm just accepting it.
If you are confident you know where to go, then I will be right there beside you.
I'm sorry, friend.
Smart hunter. Real smart.
It is what it is.
Trust me and we'll get in
I
and
still
out of
enjoy
there
the
before
game.
Hydra knows
It just
what's
means I won't try to min-max as hard as I was at playing the hardest
Skull's
difficulty as I
secrets
was.
Yeah. It'll be good to see what the old bonehead was up to.
You talk as though you knew him.
It's not like we traded punches or anything, but I was in Canadian intelligence during the war. The skull was definitely on our radar. As nasty as you'd expect. Obsessed with the occult.
And this Project Gottamortar?
That's new to me. Hopefully it lives up to its name. I'd hate to go all the way down there and find out it's just a regular old mortar.
All right, I'll be right back. Restroom's calling. still there, Houston?
Yeah.
Nice.
Your jokes are mordering me, Logan.
Oh, nice German humor, Hunter. If I had a hat on, I'd tip it to you right now.
Doc.
Whatever it is, I hope we can
What
get it
about
out
you?
of there. I don't want to spend more time with those
Alright, here we
tunnels
go.
than I have to.
On that, we can
We gotta hit
Well,
BRB.
what are we waiting for? Let's go. I tell you, there's nothing better than a bunch of spooky tunnels.
You're headed into unsecured tunnels beneath Mount Wundagore with Wolverine as your guide. I'd understand if you've got some worries.
Considering the Red Skull connection, I'm surprised you will not be leading us.
Normally, I would be leading the charge. Unfortunately, I need to keep working to decode the rest of the drive.
If Crossbones intended for you to be there, it may be better that you are not.
I'm not one to hide from a fight, but I appreciate you and Logan looking out for me, Hunter.
What was Logan saying about someone named Sin?
Ah, yes. She's a member of Red Skull's family. I've tangled with her a
I
few
like how
times.
through the DLC I've
She's a chick
countered
off the
Sin
old
multiple times, but on the main story, this is the first time that you kind of encounter her.
Do you think she knows about this project?
And so my guy's like, "Who's Sin? Who's that person?"
I caught her trying to raid a museum for some of Red Skull's artifacts. If Crossbones was going to give his intel to anyone besides Lilith, it would have been her.
But he did not. He gave it to you.
Right. And that leaves us little choice. If we don't find this Project Gutmortar, it's only a matter of time before Sin does. Good luck out there.
Who are we sending? Bye. This should keep someone busy.
Happy to help.
Sending your friends out to stay out of trouble.
Ready for more?
The strongest battleground.
Not everyone wants my advice, but they're gonna get it either way.
Just a server.
Later.
All right. take him out so people take her out to level her up. No, I prefer Morb and him together, but I should have done that. Maybe. Yeah, let's bring out the Morb. Oh no, what did I do? No, I just gotta wait. Hey Char, next time you're beaten down, I need you to hydrate up, okay?
How far are you at now?
I'm around the end. At least it feels so.
And then you're doing the stuff that the DLC, which is, I'm guessing, post story, is mentioning.
Well, it's like, it's interesting is it's literally siloed, because when you do main story stuff, all the DLC characters have their own dialogue for even main story stuff.
I just barely got out of there. Oh my God.
This game is like, it's like, it is replayable.
Right.
So.
Really? 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 You want to try me?
The last DLC though was a joke. The writing was just like.
They gave it no shits.
Yeah.
Strip out the cash grab.
It felt that. It just it was like so. Like, good story like does not directly give you right and wrong. You see the consequences of the actions, and it makes you like wonder, like that's what makes the Bible so good. Cause like you can read Abraham's story, and you could just like Abraham was like morally confusing character. And so it makes you, what it does though, it's meditation literature, so you have to take it and meditate on how you will like, but your actions and things like that.
Yeah,
that's good writing. Well, they're like straight up going. I don't know how to say it, but like straight up just telling
you what's
they're just telling
wrong.
you what's wrong. Like people on the outside who are looked down upon, the Murlocs. No one cares about them. It's like, oh my gosh. Instead of you like having to decide who they are, like give you reasons why people are scared of them, they just straight up tell you the people who don't care about the others, they're evil people. It's like, oh.
They're evil.
Yeah, it's like no one talks like that. Like you just generally react in the moment.
Except to people that are already biased against them in an unhealthy, illogical way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fiction writing, so you can't tell if that was the intent or not.
Alright.
And thus, it's just bad writing.
Yeah, all the other DLCs was fun. Felt felt good, but this latest one was ill.
Ew.
Ill. There we go, and those bring out.
Are you excited for Diablo 4 to drop and everyone else disappearing again?
When does that drop?
We can't allow that helicopter to escape.
Friday?
Do whatever
Oh,
it
really?
takes to
Wow.
stop it before it departs.
Are you getting
that's
it?
the early access thing. No. That implies I don't have bills to pay first. And also, the real reason why I'm not getting it is because
We don't have much time.
it's probably not gonna.
And stop that helicopter.
Well, it's Activision Blizzard. I'm a little sick of them.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I play some of their games still, but I
Well,
try not
it seems like they almost stopped giving care since the Activision deal happened.
You mean that didn't happen?
I mean, South Korea just said that they approve it, so there's 39 countries that have approved of it. So it's not fully set.
It's not. Yeah, it's not set until the UK, and the UK is gonna be a pain about it. But they stopped caring ages ago. It just wasn't as obvious.
Huh.
Because Overwatch 2, was probably quite literally never gonna have a PvE
Mm-hmm.
in the first place. It's no accident that they swapped to a battle pass system. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Where you got less free things than even freaking loot boxes, which is impressively bad.
What's up, I'm him goat?
Still salty about that. 'Cause that's hey, you can have fun, but also you don't there's no fair progression because it's all the battle pass seasonal system now.
Mm-hmm.
And then COD's been doing that for ages.
Mm-hmm.
And they've just been dropping the ball every time. It's less dropping the ball, more throwing the ball. And then there was the thing about the Q&A for Diablo 4 was fake. But that one wasn't Blizzard, that was the person they did the interview with. Just gave fake questions. That was another drama, but in that case, Blizzard with Activision was not the culprit for once. And then there's their tendency of either being really out of touch or not realizing their own hypocrisy, like with the WoW token and Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Because they added the WoW token there. And then there was one of their big people saying that they don't get money off the WoW token, but that's yeah, right, you don't make money off that. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not a $20 WoW token being turned into a $15 sub. But where's that $5 going, eh?
I didn't know that they pulled that. That's funny.
I think that one was a more off the cuff thing from one of the big people on the on the live stream. They said that they weren't making money off of it or something, and it was
someone who's a pro poster boy for it, and they're trying to defend it.
It was someone. No, that was someone that worked there.
Oh, I see.
One of the big heads of working there. So.
Just like old times.
Oh, I already won. far as I need. I needed to go back.
I cannot possibly match your strength.
At this point, I think they just can't stop shoving their foot into their mouth.
The blood of heroes will sustain.
And then there's the fact that people don't trust that they're not gonna sell power with their battle pass system, even though they said they won't.
They won't sell power?
Like player power.
Oh.
Like what they did with Diablo Immortal, where they said they wanted to sell player power in it, but then they sold gems that indirectly, but they said it didn't because gems weren't player power when it was literally everything related to it.
So like player power means like you buy to get pay physical money, yeah, to get legitimately stronger.
I mean, Call of Duty is pay to win now, by the way.
That's what I've heard.
So there's not very much trust in that regard.
Let's see. Does that?
So there's people that's not trustworthy about that and all that stuff. And also there was a controversy more recently about them doing a race event with the like first 1,000 people being put onto a physical statue of Lilith or something in a race. But they were also allowing some content creators to do it. But specifically content creators that were allowed to play the game before and they got reset. But then like people was like asking why they would allow them, and they were like, no, that's not advantage, but it actually is, knowledge, not like a physical, like your character's further advantage. So that's another controversy that brought up in the last couple days. Because apparently someone there doesn't realize that knowing what to do before everyone else counts as an advantage compared to
so
when it's one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
A lot of ARPGs is a knowledge thing.
Yep.
Put into mouth. But I'm sure people will start talking more about it once Diablo 4 actually comes out.
Not at this very moment. Tonight, though, you come out after youth group if you want to. Sorry. Logan's asking if we want to play Morta. We finished the main story, actually, just a minute ago. A couple hours ago.
I'm happy that you enjoyed it.
It's a great game. Definitely recommend it.
Even for Hydra.
If you want to, I don't know if you got my stuff shared.
I do not on my computer.
Well, if you want to do that, you can try the main story. And then, yeah, it's really good.
Probably not. I have enough games that I need to go through as it is. And I've been gifted more games, so that's also yikes there. Like a Certain Crab game.
It's true. If yeah, I mean later tonight, Logan won't be here until later, so I'll be down for some crabbing.
Yeah. Also, what do you plan on playing after Midnight Suns?
Maybe.
Since I know
maybe...
Honkai is gonna be like one of those consistent ones you did.
Yeah, and like usually I can nail that out until they release new content, which I think will be next week. But it's certainly only going to take like 30 minutes. I'll be getting my day and then the rest. Thinking Breath of the Wild if you later sometime want to help me get that set up on PC.
Yeah. Do you have your Switch and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. You might also need a
Might also need what?
paperclip and stuff.
A paper? Oh, okay.
Unless if you want me to, if you want to dump it yourself.
Yeah, I could dump it myself.
The helicopter is preparing for takeoff. We still have...
But legitimately, with the stream right now not muted, I'll be. If it doesn't work out, I'll be fine doing it myself.
Yeah. Because worst case, you do have a capture card with your Switch.
Yeah. Yep. If that needs to be it, then yeah, I could just use my capture card with the Switch. It's funny, like literally. So Dr. Morbius, you know who Dr. Morbius is in Marvel?
Not really, but continue. Just
so he is like a vampire who he beats down bad people and he eats bad people who deserve it. And so I just made him do an eat ability on a helicopter. And it was funny just watch him take a chomp out of a helicopter.
That sounds silly.
It was just one of those very silly things.
We've already made excellent progress.
All right. Go there. Oh, that conceal's a little broken. It concealed his body, but not his cape.
You were too weak for this fight.
Did I do everything I need here? Yeah, I did.
Are you serious? Only attack essence? I already have enough attack essence. I need the other currency. Ah!
Time to grind.
It's like I say I won't min-max, but I actually enjoy upgrading these stuff, and I enjoy the leveling up progress.
Speaking of min-maxing, it reminded me of something. Did you ever end up playing the update to Into the Breach?
Oh yeah.
The Advanced Edition one?
Oh yeah. It's good. I think it's called the last one. It's called Unfair. It's truly unfair. Think about Into the Breach. There's nothing you can really do to prepare yourself for the hard difficulty. Like you legitimately lose without any choice, in it. And so I did be in unfair difficulty once, but it was still just like, it's just a rough game. It's like you're legitimately like playing more of a dice game than you are playing a strategy game.
Ah.
But that's still a great game. The new content's fun. They add a lot of cool stuff. So it's worth going over it with the new stuff. Just the hard difficulties are almost a Yahtzee hard than a
Yahtzee.
Yeah.
All right, I was curious because I remember that came out and you're really into it, and I didn't know if you ended up playing the mobile port of it either.
I played a little bit of that. I don't remember which version I beat it on. I don't know if I remember. I don't know if it was either PC or on phone. But I played a little bit on the mobile, since it's legitimately the same thing.
Yeah. A mobile game I would actually get.
I mean, you have a Netflix, right?
No.
Oh. Finally. Gosh.
I just wonder if they put Into the Breach without the Netflix exclusivity on the phone anymore.
That'd be fun. I legitimately have to pause. I have to hit escape and pause the game so all this stuff can load a little faster because.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, every time.
You have to go onto the pause menu for it to load fast. I wonder if it's if the load times are frame rate based.
I tried limiting the frame rate, and I tried maxing the frame rate, and it's still like everything has been.
Do you have it on a hard drive or an SSD?
The SSD.
It's a double whammy of just bad game programming. Lovely.
Here, I'll put it at 60. Let's see if it happens after next fight. It's a turn-based game, so frame rate's not the issue. Not going to be a oh no, this game's more
I
enjoyable.
just was saying because some games like the faster the frame rate, the faster it loads, sort of thing. But
Oh
it's
yeah.
Also, any games that do that's modern is not a modern game. That's what I'm gonna say. That
Oh,
is a
or
game...
it's ported. Or it's ported. Oh, you're right. Not modern and ported. Like legitimately, Sonic the Hedgehog did that. Did I remember telling you that?
Yeah. Do what?
I played the Sonic the Hedgehog like 2 on PC for a bit, and if I like do 60 frames instead of like 559 or like point that one, it will legitimately 60 frame. It goes double the speed in the game.
Yeah, I just meant like having the frame rate based loading screens is like not a modern game, even if it's released in modern times. That is a
happy with us. Crazy, isn't it?
that is a
is one
relic
way
of
to
the
describe
past
him.
because it should not be doing that.
The guy's the
Even
richest,
Zelda
smartest
does
dude
better
on the
than
entire
that.
planet.
That's on
At
the
least according to
Switch.
his website. I don't know. You think maybe he'd be able to do me a favor? After we save the world, I mean.
If Stark has something you need, go to him now. He is here
Oh,
to help
yeah, I
us in our
leveled up so
battle
I can
against
actually
Lilith.
use it.
Okay, pump the brakes a bit, Hunter. It's not for me, it's for my little brother Gabe.
He will be joining us in the fight.
Oh no, don't get me wrong.
Did you ever?
Gabe's one
No,
of
you
the
didn't
coolest,
play the
strongest
new
people I
Sonic
know.
game.
Huh?
It's just,
I ended up playing that.
He's 11.
The new Sonic Frontiers.
How would
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Well,
yeah.
Gabe was born
You told me it was
paralyzed from the
good, but
waist
it
down.
also had issues.
It hasn't really slowed him down, but
It was
the
more
only
of
wheelchair
the.
I can afford right now
Hey,
is
you like running at 60 FPS?
model.
Well, good. That's
was hoping
what you
Tony
get
could
to
maybe
do.
help build Gabe some upgrades when this is over. Repulsor beams optional.
Stark is loud and foolish, but he has a good heart.
Wait.
Talk to him. If he can help your brother,
Have you
I'm
there?
sure he
I'm
will.
gonna put you here.
We'll see. Thanks.
You
Hunter.
are gonna be here, and I don't have enough mana for this.
All right, go open my game box.
Pick me up? The doctor
Gamer
was in.
box.
Honestly, I rarely leave.
Going at the speed of sound. Dude, that Sonic game was such a bop.
It's not much, but I have managed
Follow me, I'll set you free. Set you free. Trust me and we will escape from this.
Like, one of the small things that I legitimately want to get is a copy of Sonic R for the
give me a
PC.
second.
Because there was a computer version of it. But it's like lost to time because it wasn't like, you know, a computer copy for a Sega Saturn game.
I'm pretty sure Charlie left a steaming coil in the hallway. Third state of matter, indeed.
And it was back in the day where you couldn't get those sort of things.
Yeah.
On that note, I also need to finish Sonic Racing. Oh man, I can't remember the name of it anymore for some reason, even though I was playing the Sonic Riders. There we go. I never actually finished all the time trials. I never unlocked all the characters on the first game. I wasn't good enough to do the gold medals on all of them.
Follow me and I'll set you free.
I do find it funny that, like, the fact that the in-house band decided to go with rock and, like, glam rock and punk rock sort of music for the 3D Sonics, like...
Wait, what happened?
For the 3D Sonic games, instead of the, like, electric and, like, electro, like, music that the old Genesis games, the 3D games like Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic and the Black Rain, Secret Reigns, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
They like got an internal band that eventually made their own, like they eventually went out to be separate, and they went for like glam rock and like just like American rock sort of like music, and that was just how entertaining that like that kind of like reshaped a lot of like kids of that era and stuff, music choices similar to what like that combined with Tony Hawk probably kept punk and just more classical rock music a lot more relevant for like younger generations.
What are you talking about?
The music genres of the Sonic and Tony Hawk games.
Ah, yes.
I was just singing Sonic 2 for the Dreamcast or for the GameCube.
Live and learn!
So good.
Hanging on the edge of tomorrow! Hell yeah.
I never actually got to play those Sonic Adventure 2. I only had DX on the GameCube.
I think there's a Steam port.
There is.
Probably.
I was telling about it because I like booted it, and I made the mistake of playing at 60 frames instead of like 59 point something frames, and it was double the speed. Because we were talking about how like frames go into loading time of the game.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm playing the Marvel game, and I'm just having so much issues right now with it.
And you want to know the even more weird musical choice in regards to Sonic games? Sonic R.
Over by the surface, Sonic Racing! Fuck, I love that soundtrack.
It is great.
It's just straight up this 90s dance music.
Yeah.
Wait, I think I have. Do I have Sonic Racing?
It's not Sonic Racing All Stars.
Oh.
It's specifically Sonic R.
Sonic R for, I think it was the Saturn.
Saturn and PC. There is actually. They also released it on.
I have never played
PC
like
back then.
Sonic R.
Neither have I.
I only played it because I had. Apparently, they put a copy of it on the Sonic Gems collection way back when.
It's a very bad game.
Is it?
It's a very bad game that's actually kind of good, but it was very, very jank.
It's a bad game.
Very jank.
That's a bad person, Mama.
Underneath my mask is a look of deep satisfaction.
The music is iconic, though.
The music is probably the best part.
Yeah, quite.
Bye.
Something feeling sunshine. I don't remember how that one goes. That was the like first stage one though.
Yes, he obviously has permission.
What's up?
Why do you think the title is dragging? I can't see chat. So what am I supposed to do?
Sonic R. I needed to find. Ah, yeah, that's what the name was.
Maybe you should invite him to the That's scary. Wait!
There you go. I linked it.
Wait!
He links me Sonic.
The song, one of the
Sonic
Sonic R
Rs.
songs. I'll go get the one that Jason was singing though.
No, because look it. When I drop him, he just despawns. No way! No way!
Follow me.
Made that freaking boss fight hype.
Why are you staring at me, Zachy? Let me drop you off the map, bud.
Okay, I sent you the other one to. It's in the like text part of the voice channel.
Okay.
If you're very curious of where the sound came from.
I'll just have to mute my stream right now so that I don't get
Mac.
DRM smacked. Because probably somewhere down the line, Nintendo owns it somewhere now.
Let's do this.
I mean, it's Sega. Sega specifically somehow. I don't know how they turned from a first party to a third party, but yeah.
I think it was the Dreamcast. They released the Dreamcast and it just
I think it was the
absolutely
Saturn,
flopped.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just the Saturn flopped and then the Dreamcast flopped.
The Dreamcast was.
It had
I
some
remember
good
people
games,
saying
but-
good things about it, but it was like, it wasn't successful, but it wasn't a flop either, because Phantasy Star Online was on it, and
Well,
that's still a big one.
I only know a few people who had the Dreamcast like me. Like, I begged my parents. I begged back to my
I
family.
wish
money.
I knew about it, but I
begged
was
them.
too young at that point. I was way too young at that point.
Compared to the other consoles at the time, it was definitely ahead of its time.
But yeah, like seriously, like it was literally the generate like its features and the like abilities was literally the next generation.
Yeah, it was like one of the first
But it
consoles
was the
that had
it's like
internet built in.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the 0.5 of
Yeah.
the generation. It was like what the next one was, just slightly different earlier. Which is unfortunate because they were very innovative back then.
Let's see him try to.
But too innovative. We weren't ready for it.
And also, like, I think there's also was an information hole. Like people just didn't know at the time.
It might have been a regional thing too, because
Yeah, it was before the days of mass internet.
Yeah.
Most people, including myself, still had dial-up. So if you weren't really in the know about the Dreamcast, you didn't know about it.
I never got to experience dial-up
Because, like,
myself.
For me, when I was a kid, I had a Dreamcast. I knew, like, I remember hearing it connect to internet, and for me, like, I thought it meant I could play, like, Gauntlet Legends for free or something like that. And so my little kid brain...
To be fair, that is what the internet does nowadays.
But, I mean, like, we're talking, like, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
32...
Hearts
so
was
yeah.
still a thing back then. I need to get that copy of Gauntlet Legends from my brother.
That's a cool game.
I love
He
Gauntlet.
has an N64 cartridge just laying around somewhere in the house.
I gotta say, though, Dark Legacy was an upgrade in almost all respects. I'll play that instead.
I barely played Dark Legacy.
I don't even know what either of those games are. I just know my brother has the Gauntlet Legends, and I was very curious to try it out. But we didn't have an N64 over there, just a cartridge for it.
Oof.
Just to look at it.
I was
Yeah, quite literally.
It was like the very first arcade game that I went mad. Like at least as a kid, I went just crazy over. And I remember learning that it was on the 64 and then also on the GameCube. Like I followed that game until I think I've got Legends on Steam, like the newer one, but I never played it because I haven't taken the chance to play it yet.
Yeah.
Well, the last Gauntlet game they released, it's actually pretty solid.
Their crates are rigged to self-destruct. The required key card is
You know what that reminds me of? Speaking of old games that's now on Steam, Dark Alliance 2. Someday. Someday we'll play that.
I would
together.
love that.
What are you up to, Jason?
Not a whole lot right now. Just yelling at my cat. He's yelling back at me.
Just looking at each other.
Fuck you, cat! No, fuck you!
Good thing I have just headphones on.
You had to check.
Yep, I'm like every time. I'm like, okay, good. I have just headphones on. Nothing going through
Jason's
speaker.
on. Let me put on the no phones.
No phone.
No phone. This is my job. I gotta be very careful on what I introduce them to. Even my naughty cousin.
Only the naughtiest.
The naughtiest. The worst.
Gotta find more esoteric swear words.
You just gotta use like British versions. Oh, bloody, like stuff like that.
Oh, bloody hell!
Oh, bugging me sideways!
There you go.
Ah, dingus.
Oh, ding. Hammersmith.
Oh no, I do find myself saying cunt an awful lot.
Yeah, that's definitely... That's one of those I'm not comfortable saying.
It's just a word.
Yeah, but it's generally derogatory towards females, and so...
What? That's the first time I've heard it.
Just about every swear word's derogatory towards somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
especially
like
that word, though.
Yeah. Because that's the first time it was specifically females. Because usually I hear it in like a British or Australian sort of way where it's a lot more generalized
You've
instead of
secured one of the crates. See if you can't get the other.
sexist. I will say that's
No.
probably because I mostly end up playing games with
Modern
Australians.
is
So.
informed of a... It's just the relation. Please respect what I'm going to say, my friend.
Oi, mate, you got a license for that swear word?
Time to put your quid into the swear jar.
Time to put your quid in the lorry! Take it to the lift.
It's the least I can
Oh, where's me torch?
I appreciate your concern.
Oi, mate, you wanna go down to the pub and have some mushy peas?
I put my right.
For victory.
Oh, I was down at the pub and there was this bloke there and he's like, I'll bash your head in, I swear on me mum.
Some of them will join you on the other side.
So I said, oh, piss off, you tosser, and then I don't know.
Then you sing him a sea shanty.
Then I threw him in the bog. I was down at the loo and they were at a bog roll.
They've armed one of the crates. It's going to explode if you don't get that key.
Now that was something.
You've secured one of the
More
crates.
attack essence. Gosh.
Anger rising.
I'm starting to feel like I'm playing a gotcha game.
Spend that
More
money.
of this, and suddenly you'll go on a crusade.
Look to the skies.
As a child, I feared the servants of Lilith. Now I teach them to fear me.
And that reminds me. Did you want to play anything, Jason?
Oh, no.
Mood.
What do you think?
Feel that.
I am impressed.
Earth 2023. RoboQuest. You know what sucks though? Unreal Tournament.
Like the newest one?
The lack of the newest one.
Oh yeah, I thought they made like a free-to-play version and it didn't really do well.
They dropped it like very abruptly, and then they got rid of all the old ones. So you can't buy them anymore. And they shut down the servers, so you have to like mod the old Unreal Tournament stuff for community master servers or whatever.
Yeah, you just gotta keep playing 2K4, baby!
Well, you can't get new people to play it though. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
You can't play the new one either because they took that down too. Might as well just call it the Fortnite engine at this point.
Another of the crates is armed to detonate.
Just
Get to
drop
that
Unreal
key
from it. They haven't made an Unreal game in ages, and the only time they did,
I'm talking to
they threw it
Jason
away.
and Houston on the headsets.
At least it still made a Doom game.
Yeah. I don't remember when Epic used to make games.
They used to make good games back in the day. They also used to publish a lot of various ones from our stuff in like the children's game. I think they published a couple of those.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Back in the day when they made an Unreal Tournament.
The game just broke and did the wrong ability. Did the ability in the place I told it not to do.
Rip. Rip your hopes and dreams.
That's what this game's
Dead.
doing. It was good until all the engines started breaking.
Until they decided that was enough QA. It was enough time for them to be past the return period.
Sounds like you just need to buy more loot boxes.
All right, I love you guys. I am taking Broheim home.
Bye.
I'll be back on when I get back, but I don't know if you'll be asleep by then, Jason. So.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Good night to you.
Bye.
Bye.